Want to open a bank account in Finland fast and easy? I've got bad news. First of all, you cannot do that online. But guess what's even worse mistake? Going to the bank physically. They'll just tell you to go away. So what you need to do then? And in the worst case scenario, you may miss your first 2 or 3 salary payments because you cannot get your bank account opened. And to add insult to injury, the Finnish banks gatekeep something very important. And if you don't get this, you will be a B-class citizen in Finland. And this may sound over the top, but this is very important what you will learn today. Because today you'll learn the step-by-step process for both non-EU and EU people to open a bank account hassle-free, my recommended banks for foreigners, and the most important thing to avoid the B-class citizen fate. And let's start with the non-EU people. And you need to complete these steps to open a bank account online quickly. And please bear with me, because if you miss even one of these steps, you can say bye-bye to a fast bank account. And let's start with the step 1, and don't be a John Doe or a Jane Doe. So non-EU guys and girls require a residence permit to move to Finland, and you usually get something very important with your residence permit, and we call that the personal identity code, henkilötunnus in Finnish. I'll call it hetu because I'm gonna mention it quite a few times. This is the most important piece of information you have in Finland. It will distinguish you from anyone else, even if they have the same name and same birthday. And without a hetu, you are just a Jane or John Doe. You cannot do anything in Finland, and you cannot really access the Finnish community and its services. And most important, don't disclose it to strangers. You only need this when dealing with the public sector or when creating contracts. And most often you will get the hetu with your residence permit, but not always. And if not, I will tell you how to get it in the next step. Because the next thing you need to get is the home municipality or municipality of residence. In Finnish we call it kotikunta. And I'm gonna just refer to HM and not the clothes store. So acquiring kotikunta means that you are a permanent resident of the city or the town you live in, and you are entitled to use the city services like the public transport discounts, the public health care, school and daycare, for example. And your address will be registered as a permanent address in the population information register. But most importantly, this has nothing to do with the permanent residence permit. Keep that in mind. And to put it very simply, the main requirement to get the kotikunta in Finland is to move to Finland for at least a year. And DVV has more information about kotikunta on its website. I'm not going to go too much deeper into it, but I will link it in the description. DVV is Digital and Population Data Services Agency, Digi- ja Väestötietovirasto in Finnish. Wow, that's a mouthful. So how do you apply for kotikunta? You start this process by going to the DVV website, and there are 2 cases. First of all, if you don't have a hetu yet, the personal identity code. So if you have a residence permit, you can actually apply for a hetu online in advance by using this form. What is important, you need to have some address in Finland. It could be an Airbnb or a hotel, or if you have actually secured a proper rental apartment, its address also is fine. But it doesn't matter if you don't know your permanent address yet, because you can always change this later on once you know where you will be living. And the other questions are pretty straightforward, so make sure to answer them and you're good to go. The only important thing is to click this choice where you request a kotikunta. Once you submit the form, you also need to book a meeting with DVV and go there physically. Just make sure to book the time as soon as possible because there are limited slots. And you can even book the time before filling the form. And also just know that if you come here with a specialist permit or as a growth startup entrepreneur, there's a special category for fast track people. Make sure to choose that if you're eligible. Want to be more confident about your move to Finland? I have an easy flowchart guide for the necessary paperwork steps when moving to Finland. And if you want to be more confident, grab the guide from the link in the description. So the second case, what do you already have a hetu? In that case, you will submit this form instead. It's a little bit different, but pretty much the same. And this is only for the kotikunta. And again, you need to book a meeting with DVV in person after completing this form. However, there's one piece of information that you need to visit DVV within a month of filling out the form or submitting the form. So make sure to plan your arrival and submitting the form accordingly. And again, please remember, book the meetings to DVV as soon as possible, because they always book out and then people will have to wait for weeks and even months because there's a huge bottleneck because of these limited slots. And on top of that, each of these steps has a processing time. You can actually view them on DVV's website. They will update them regularly, so keep also that in mind. So once you visit, and then eventually when you come to Finland, you visit at DVV, they will email you once they're processed your application. You will get the personal identity code and also kotikunta with the same stuff. After this, we need to get familiar with the Finnish police. So once you've got the decision for your kotikunta, you need to go to the police in Finnish, and not to get arrested, but to get this bad boy, the Finnish ID card, henkilökortti in Finnish. And note that this is different from the residence permit card. This is an actual proper ID, like a passport. And why we need this? To avoid the B-class citizen fate, but we will get to that soon, I promise. To get the card, you need to do the following steps. First, you need to get some sexy passport photos. Not for your Tinder profile, but the card. And in Finland you can find a lot of these photo stores pretty much around every corner and in every shopping mall. And you can visit any of these to get these passport photos. It costs everything between 15 to 25 euros. And the most important thing here is that you can actually choose the photo store to forward that sexy photo to the police's system. And they will give you this 6-digit code, which you need to save. Why? We'll get to that soon. Then you need to book a meeting with the police. Except you cannot book a meeting with the police. What's that about? Well, they have a booking system for the foreigner's ID card, but the thing is that they have always booked out for months, and this has been the case as long as I've been helping hundreds of newcomers to settle in Finland. I have no idea why, but there's a secret strategy that can get you past this queue immediately. And what's that? You just show up. Yes, so they actually also take people in with the queuing number system. But the problem is that other people have also learned this system or this strategy. But here's the trick. So the stations open at 8 in the morning. So I recommend to go there like 7:30 or 7:45 in the morning before it opens. And once they open the doors, you just rush to the machine, get the queuing number, and then you just wait. You want to check in advance the police station's opening hours because, for example, in the summer they have limited hours or days they can be, for example, closed on Wednesdays. So you want to check it out in advance online. My previous followers and students have reported that there's around 20 to 50 minute waiting time if you go first thing in the morning to the police. And also keep in mind that you cannot really go outside the office hours because they're only open between Monday to Friday and from 8 to like 16:15, like 4:15. So if you're working, you have to kind of keep this in mind. And when your turn comes, you just fill in the form, you give the photo code, which you got, the 6-digit code from the photo store. You also pay the fee, so it will cost money. And then you choose an important step again, which I will tell you soon. And you can see the fees here. But what the funny thing is here, that on the fee list, it's called aliens identity card. UFOs exist, I guess. And then you need to choose the delivery and pickup method. In addition to the basic delivery, you can also choose a rapid or express delivery to get it a little bit quicker. But for example, if you come here to work and you come like 2 to 3 weeks in advance before your work starts, then you can just opt in for the regular delivery because you'll still have time to get it before or early enough. But here's the big mistake many do. So when choosing the pickup location, you can either choose the police station where you visited or the closest R-kioski or matkahuolto station. And the latter is of course much more convenient because you don't have to go to the police station again, and these R-kioskis are scattered all over the place. You can probably choose one or find one close to your accommodation or to your work or study place. However, here's the thing. If you choose the R-kioski delivery, you can only a person with the Finnish ID card or a passport can collect the card. So you need a card that you're actually applying for. You need the card to get the card. So it's talk about a chicken and egg problem. And this means that you need to authorize someone who has a Finnish ID card or a Finnish passport, like a friend or a family member or someone who you trust, with the power of attorney to collect the card for you. The police has this power of attorney template on their website, which you can just print or you can fill it, and then you print and then you just fill in your information and you go to the R-kioski together and make sure that everything's there, and then you should get the card nice and easy. Also linked in the description. And if you don't have any trusted friend or family member, then you just choose the police station and go back to the station to get the card. And you will be notified by email or text when your card is ready for collection. And now, after all of this hard work, we can finally go to the bank. But not so fast, because the banks don't accept walk-in strategies. You always have to book a meeting in advance, and you always have to go to the branch office in person. You cannot open a bank account online for the first time. And which banks should you even go? And which banks are the best, by the way? Well, I recommend OP, Osuuspankki, as the main bank. First of all, they have English service, and I've been their customer all my life. My parents have been, my grandparents have been, and overall they're just a good bank. The basic fees are around 4 euros, and people less than 30 have actually for free, as far as I understand. A sign-up fee is 100 euros, but you will get it back if you ever decide to quit the customership. I also recommend S-Pankki as a secondary bank, just because you get this S-Group loyalty program on top of it, and the bank account is actually free. They don't have English service at the moment, but I heard they're working on it, but it's still useful. Also 100 euro sign-up, which you will get back if you ever decide to quit. You can book a meeting to both of these banks on their websites, and just note that OP have different banks in each region and also branch offices in each region. For example, if you're moving to the capital area, you want to choose OP Uusimaa, because Uusimaa is the capital area region. For example, if you move to Tampere, then you want to choose Tampereen seudun osuuspankki. And also, once you open the bank account, you never have to go to the bank offices again, because you can do everything online later on. S-Pankki has only Finnish booking site, but you can use use Google Translate if necessary. Again, make sure to book the slots as soon as possible because they are always out of slots. They book out very quickly and it can easily form a bottleneck for your settling to Finland. So why did we have to go all through this? And what was the B-class citizen thing I talk about? Well, that is because of the online banking credentials. So as you may know, Finland is a very app and digital oriented society. Many things can be done right from your couch while you're underwear, maybe having a drink at the same time. Like applying for rental apartments, getting electricity or mobile plans, using banking services online, or dealing with the police, tax office, social security, and so on. And this whole system is built on the online banking credentials, verkkopankkitunnukset. Wow, another mouthful. And you will see this screen a lot in Finland. This is where you authenticate yourself with your online banking credentials and consider it a way to like verify your identity online. However, to get access to this online banking credentials, you will need something. An ID document issued by an EU country. And this is why we had to go through all of this effort to get the Finnish ID card, because the Finnish ID card will get the access to the online banking for non-European people. And if you don't have the online banking credentials, you cannot access any of these services online, and you either have to call to this place, or even worse, visit them physically. And why it's bad? Because you have to interact with strangers more rather than doing things online with zero interaction. I'm not kidding. Finnish self-deprecating here. What about EU citizens? What do you need to do? Well, you can just skip all of that, and right after you completed your right of residency registration at Migri, you can just head straight to the bank. You will get everything opened nice and easy. I know it's anticlimactic, but that's the truth, because EU citizens don't need the Finnish ID card to get bank accounts and online banking, because if you listen closely, you only need an EU issued ID. And if you're an EU citizen, you already most likely have an EU passport, and that is enough to open everything, unlock all the DLC in Finland. However, like I told you before, you should still apply for the DVV kotikunta, but it's not required for you to open a bank account. There are also 10 other big mistakes newcomers make in Finland. Click here to learn more.